All right, it is party time. Welcome to Tuesday, Monday's Hangover. Let's get to some things that we need to get to. But before we do, I want to remind everybody I'm coming to Kansas City on the 14th through the 16th. That is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Going to be 5 shows in 3 nights. Come check us out. ChadPratherLive.com. Also going to be in Wyoming, South Dakota, Granbury, Texas, a few other places bouncing around. Oh, we just announced another show at District 249, Tomball, Texas. Going to be a straight-up comedy show. Been there. I think that'll be about the 5th, 6th time I've done a show at District 249. And this one will be all new. It'll be a lot of fun, so come hang out with us. You know, Brandon, I wish, last night here in Nashville, last night I popped into the live chat of the show, but it was after. It wasn't live anymore. And you were in there. And I always look at the live chat. And I wish if we were doing this show live, it would be so much fun to be able to take live chat comments sometimes.
Yeah, like the streamers do the
and
super
deal with
chats.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but, we don't get to do that. So, if you guys are watching the show, typically I'm lurking somewhere, while the show is premiering. Brandon is always in there.
Yep.
And, sometimes I comment on some things. We'll whack some trolls, stuff like that. But, there were a few comments last night that I noticed I wanted to get into and clarify something because people who don't watch this show, they tend to jump in and they assume to know, like, what perspective we're coming from, right? Like, oh, you are a bunch of Republicans or whatever. Brandon, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're not a dyed-in-the-wool GOP Republican, right?
No, I don't think I'd describe myself as such.
Perfect example. Nor do I.
Yeah.
And so, people automatically identify you with a political party. But I've never been a part of a political party. I have no desire to be a part of a political party. I'm a conservative guy. And I was reading one of the comments, Brandon, last night where people were saying, Republicans are just as bad as Democrats. And it's like, welcome to the show. welcome to what we say here on a regular basis. Big government is the problem. Yep. And so somebody was commenting last night talking about, Republicans in Texas and how they're the ones who have allowed Democrats to take over in the state house in Texas. And it's like, yeah, if you looked at my social media, you would see that I just literally posted a video yesterday morning about that very topic. So, you guys need to kind of keep up a little bit better. Educate these folks. Anyway, and the topic, by the way, I'll go ahead and address it, was talking about this that I made the video about, and something you guys need to be aware of, because what happens in Texas affects the rest of the country, because, we have mass migration of illegals coming across the Texas southern border. And, what happens in Texas, ultimately, it funnels to the rest of the United States. One of the big things that we're dealing with in Texas is countries that are on the National Threat Assessment list. Countries like Iran, China, places like that. North Korea would be on one. Well, the Chinese, people who don't live in Texas, but have interests in the Communist Chinese Party, they buy land in Texas. And State Senator Lois Kolkhorst from Brenham, Texas, she introduced Bill 147 in the Texas House, which actually passed through the Senate. And it basically said if you're one of those people, you can't buy land in Texas because they don't value, Texas property rights, and they undermine, your rights as a property owner. And it's just dangerous. And so what she discovered, or what we're discovering now, by the way, that bill did not get through did not make it to Greg Abbott's desk, which Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, did say he would sign that into law, where those on the National Threat Assessment list could not buy land in Texas. But it never made it to his desk because of some good old-fashioned Republicans in Texas. They killed that deal. And now we're discovering that that people were actually using WeChat. WeChat is a social media platform that is actually owned by the Communist Chinese Party, and they were mobilizing protesters. The day that bill was presented, they mobilized a bunch of protesters, specifically Chinese protesters, to come to the Texas Capitol and protest, and the bill died. So there you go. That's what Republicans will get you in places like the state of Texas. Well, yes, you're absolutely right. It would seem that Democrats are running the show. You need to check out a great documentary. Just get on there and Google it, or go to the social media for Texas Scorecard. And Texas Scorecard has an incredible new documentary that came out week before last called The Texas Heist. The Texas Heist. And it's actually about that very topic, about how Democrats have stolen the state house from Republicans, because Republicans are Republicans in name only. They're not truly conservatives. It's amazing when you look, whether it's in your state government or the federal government, how many times you see Republicans, people who have an R by their name, claim to be Republicans, who ran on a Republican ticket. They tend to be very, very liberal, very Democrat. They're willing to embrace some Democrat ideals. You don't typically see Democrats doing that. You don't see Democrats on the left side of the aisle, especially now that classical liberalism is dead in the water and you have more of a progressive leftist ideology. You never see them moving towards the conservative side or doing any of those deals. Now, if I'm wrong, I welcome you to prove that point. But you take, for instance, Volodymyr Zelensky. Volodymyr Zelensky has now come out and said that he's not going to run for, he's not going to have a state election in Ukraine unless America pays for it, unless America and the UN pays for it. So he says, I'm not going to take the money that was sent here for our defense and hold an election. You have to basically supply me with money that is specifically earmarked for an election. Otherwise, we're not going to have one. People who say things like that tend to be dictators and extortionists. And it seems to be that's what that guy tends to, he shapes up to be that quite often. So stop with your Crimea River nonsense about Volodymyr Zelensky being some kind of hero. He's not. He's very dictatorish. And when you say things like that, like, yeah, we're just not going to have an election, I'll just stay in power. And guess who he told it to? You know who he initially revealed that to? None other than Republican Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham. These guys, they love a good war, don't they? It just keeps the coffers full. Just keeps the money rolling in. So I say all that to say I don't give a rat's ass if you got an R or a D or an I or whatever by your name. I don't really care. Speaking of people that have no balls, Brandon, let me bring you back up. Did you see the streamies? Did you see that Dylan Mulvaney won a streamie?
I did. I saw his whole acceptance speech. What a year that guy's had. He's been crushing.
Wow. Yeah, and, Dylan, first of all, had a hard time. We don't have the clip, and I didn't tell you to pull it, so I was like, I should have, but then I thought, do we even want to talk about Dylan Mulvaney anymore? But then I got thinking about people that have no balls, or at least shriveled up little marbles, and I thought Dylan Mulvaney. And while he was doing his, first of all, people say, what's a streamie? A streamie, correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, a streamie is basically somebody that's a social media influencer, and they've done something significant, right?
Yeah, it's like social media influencers, the Twitch streamers, stuff like that. But it's very partisan. There were a few streamers who didn't get invited that are huge streamers, but because they're not willing to spew the propaganda, their brand risks. Which
I
was
got you.
Interesting.
So it's an award show for people who have gotten popular online.
It's a circle jerk for influencers. Pretty much.
Internet famous. 21st century way of saying you're unemployed, but you're popular. So Dylan gets up there. He's wrestling with his ball gown. The reason is he's pulling on his dress the entire time, pulling the thing up because there's no tits in there.
Nope.
It's zero. I mean, if Dylan was truly committed to 530 days of girlhood or however many he's into right at this point, you'd think he'd go ahead and buy some boobs.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I was going to become a woman, that'd be like the first thing I look into is nice tits, right?
Yeah. Especially if I was going to keep my penis. If I was going to keep my penis and that was going to be, my my go-to place for pleasure. I would want to have some boobs to grab onto, like if that's what I'm going to do. But he doesn't have any boobs because again, he's not legitimate. He's not authentic in this regard. And so he's pulling at his dress, and I tweeted underneath Robbie Starbuck's tweet of this video. I said, you know what would keep that dress up? If it was on a real woman. If it was on a real woman. See what I did there? But, Dylan was just so surprised and so shocked. And then in his very awkward way said, no, I'm going to go have a beer. Yeah. And I bet Bud Light just cringed and said, shut the F up.
Yeah, at this point, they're going to need to pay him to stop talking about it.
Yeah. And you know that he had that acceptance speech just planned right out.
I bet he's had that acceptance speech written for years, because in it he does 100%. Say like, I thought I was gonna win a Tony, but now I want a Streamy, and whatever. Yeah.
And so in this vein of fake people, whether it's fake Republicans or fake women, there's fake Joe Biden. The National Archives, get this, dude. I sent you this. I'm blown away. I want you to wrap your head around this number, folks. The National Archives has about 5,400. That's 54 times 100. Emails, records linked to Joe Biden's email aliases. Joe Biden. Wow. Amazing. Robert Peters, Robin Ware, J.R.B. Ware. All these are names that were used to share government information and discuss business with Hunter Biden and associates, according to the Southeastern Legal Foundation, which filed a lawsuit to compel the agency to turn over the emails. Please, God, don't let them destroy these emails. All too often, public officials abuse their power by using it for their personal or political benefit. When they do, many seek to hide it. That was Kimberly Herman, who is general counsel for Southeastern Legal Foundation, says the only way to preserve government integrity is for NARA to release Biden's nearly 5,400 emails to SLF, and thus the public. I mean, dare we hope that these actually get released to the public? James Comer, in August requested the archives hand over all the documents and communication in which then Vice President Joe Biden used pseudonyms such as Robert Peters, Robin Ware, and J.R.B. Ware. We need to come up with a list of pseudonyms for Joe Biden.
Have his full alias list?
Yeah, we need to come up with a list for that, like Richard Dangle, This email signed by Richard Dick Dangle. He said there were, remember Joe Biden said there was absolutely no wall, there was an absolute wall between his family's foreign business schemes and his duties as vice president. Now, first of all, it begs the question: do you think Joe Biden's family would have foreign business dealings? Brandon, I don't know. Does your family have a lot of foreign business dealings?
If they do, I'm not getting a cut, so I'm getting screwed royally. I'm gonna need to look into that.
I can, I'm racking my brain right now to think if any of my redneck folks in my family. I don't have any cousins, nobody like that. No foreign business dealings. I don't, if Joe Biden hadn't been Joe Biden, I can't imagine them having any foreign business dealings. But yet he was Joe Biden. It's so, that again, that's what they call influence peddling. So you got to provide, the National Archives has got to provide these unredacted records to further the investigation into the into the Biden family corruption. The Robert Peters alias raised a lot of concerns. That thing was used over and over again. And when a government official is using an obscure government network and using an alias, yikes! What are you trying to hide there, Bobby Peters? He CC'd Hunter on that one about Ukraine. The email includes an attachment with the vice president's schedule, indicating that he had spoken by phone to then Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko. So there you go. All right, guys, listen, everybody deals with pain from time to time, and I'm not talking about the pain in the neck you get from Robert Peters. Listen, you deal with pain, whether it's inflammation or, just the crap that goes on. It happens. You live with it. You sustain it. You deal with it. You move forward. But sometimes there's no moving forward because the pain is just there, and it just doesn't go away. It comes back day after day until it fills your world and steals some of the joy that you get out of life. Now, if you're one of the people who experience this, you know how really awful it can be. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to be that way. Relief Factor is a great way to reduce pain, which is mostly caused by inflammation in the joints. And when you take it as directed, it could absolutely change your life. It definitely changed mine. Now, Relief Factor is not a drug, but it was developed by doctors, and it reduces inflammation in your body. 70% of the people who take it keep on taking it, and they keep on ordering it because they found that it works. So if you're living with pain, try the 3-week quick start, $19.95. It's a trial pack. Go to relieffactor.com or give them a call, 800-4-RELIEF. That's the number 4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF. Go to relieffactor.com. We'll be right back. All right. A lot of people asking me about my voice. It's still, I'd love to say it's all sexy and deep and, radio voice. But it's not. It's not. It's nasty. And I think I've been doing too much stuff to it, trying to get it well. But either way, here we are. Here we are with this voice. COVID. Let's talk about it one more time because I just don't think you're hearing what I'm saying yet. I'm going to keep saying it until you get it. Just say no, people. Just say no. They're bringing it back. They listen. Karine Jean-Pierre is talking about, we'll talk about more about this later on, but Karine Jean-Pierre has already said there's a new vaccine coming. Biden administration encouraging you to get it. They're already pushing the masks. There's a lot of places that are wanting to do it. I want you to have a conversation with yourself before you even leave the house, and you just tell yourself you're not going to do it. You find that inner fortitude, and you're just not going to do it. You don't think it's coming. It's coming. And it's amazing to me that they can just plan this out. I mean, a virus so smart that it times itself to only be released on an election year. It's an incredibly smart virus that just knows when to show up, knows when to just burst out. And the fact that the powers that are out there can just predict it, they know when it's coming. I mean, that is amazing to me, how just the ability that they have to just track this and say, oh, there's new COVID coming and you better get ready, so mask up. Play for me clip number 1.
The myths about children and COVID, that kids aren't really harmed by it, that school closures were a massive and avoidable mistake, that they cause learning loss and mental health issues. Those myths, and they are myths, dangerous myths, have endured for so long, become so ingrained, so pervasive, that they're not just something Fox viewers believe. I'm sure many of you watching at home have sadly come to accept many of these myths as true. So we need to reassert what the actual truth of the matter is, especially if we are to be prepared for the next pandemic when it inevitably comes, and especially if we are to protect and not abandon our kids right now as they return to school.
Yeah. You can shove that up your ass, dude. Statistically speaking, we have gone over this many, many times on this show, actually given the numbers on how it absolutely did harm children and their education. It harmed them psychologically. It increased the suicide counseling and even the suicide numbers. So, Mehdi Hassan, you want to get up there with your whatever stick up your ass and whoever's controlling the narrative there, telling you what to say. It is not a myth. It is not a myth. You cannot tell me that sticking paper over a kid's face, throttling a child by wrapping a piece of cloth around their face or a piece of paper around their face, putting them in plexiglass, isolating them, telling them not to interact or touch or have anything to do with other human beings. You can't tell me that psychologically that's not damaging. To retard their educational process by taking them out of the classroom and putting them in front of a screen, which they're already in front of way too much. And now they're in front of a screen, 8 to 12 hours a day. You're telling me that that's actually good for them, that we're supposed to embrace that? No, you kiss my ass on that. These people are propagandists. These people are pushing a narrative. They don't care about your children, first of all. Mehdi Hasan, MSNBC, none of the producers at MSNBC, the people writing these stories, they don't care about your children. They don't give a rat's ass about your children. They don't care if your children live or die. They don't care about you. And he could say, oh, you Fox viewers. The fact that he's willing to create the label and the categorize and say, well, you Fox News viewers, and maybe some of you. See, he's already creating a classification list between those who should know something and those who probably don't know something. He's already exchanged in his mind who he thinks is intellectual and who's not. Because you Fox News viewers, well, y'all are just stupid redneck backwoods hicks that don't understand science. And he's going to be the guy who's going to stand up there in his you know, his three-piece suit, his brown skin, and his little slight accent, and try to sound dignified by telling you that this is myth, that it is harming your children. Well, my redneck white country ass will tell you to come here and kiss it, dude, because it absolutely does harm our children. You don't believe me? You want to see how compassionate the left is? You want to see how much the left cares about your children? You want to see how much they really are concerned with your health and safety? Okay, here we go. Play clip number 2.
That's my business.
Well, that's up to them. They can tell me to leave if they want.
You're an asshole. I hope your mother gets sick and dies, and your kids too.
You hope people die?
I hope your kids do, because they should have a mask on.
You hope my kids die?
Just go. You're an asshole.
You made the little girl cry.
Huh?
You made the little girl cry.
Yeah. They should wear a mask.
Well, if they're too young.
No, they're not too young. That one's 12 years old.
I mean, but you shouldn't look at a little girl and tell them that you hope they die.
Masks are only for people like me, right? Men, people like me, who think that you're diseased.
Oh, shut up, asshole! Get the hell out of here!
Look, there's no... It's not mandatory for him to come.
So they don't want your germs?
Says it
By the
is.
state of Ohio, we're not enforcing. He has kids. All right, we should be thinking about his kids.
His kids are 12 years old. That little girl's 12 years old. They're going to make them wear them to school for 8 hours.
But that's not your place to judge that. Let him deal with that.
Yeah, so I can get sick and die, and you can die, and these people can die. I work at a hospital. I see people die every day. It's bad. You want to see your father dying? It's not good.
My mom works in the nursing field too.
It's bad.
That's his choice.
No, it's not. I'll go out with DeWine. I'll tell DeWine that Burger King here does not make you wear a mask, and they'll shut you down. Let's go.
All right. First of all, let's this walking cankle. So they're at a Burger King. This guy's got his children with him. Don't know what is said to the young girl, but the young girl walks out crying. He's carrying another toddler, and she turns and says, I hope your kids get sick and die. Now, maybe this is one of those people that watches Mehdi Hasan, you know, one of these intellectuals that watches MSNBC. Not a Fox News viewer. I mean, no, this walking lipid is going to tell you that she works in a hospital and she sees people die every day. Well, if that's the case, then if she's watching people die every day, please, God, don't submit your health care to her or anywhere where she's working. But she says, oh, yeah, well, they're going to put a mask on them for 8 hours a day at school. So why not when you come into Burger King? So she's waiting on her heart attack in a sack and then going to sit there and lecture you on how you need to not only take care of yourself and mask your children, but how you know, you don't need to come around her because people are going to get sick and die. Honey, you might not, that fat bitch might not have even made it to the car. I don't even know at this point. I mean, she can't even walk because the ass on the back of her looks like a semi-trailer. But she's going to tell you to mask your children. See, this is the place where somebody slaps the bitch out of somebody else. quite honestly. And because, you know, when you come after somebody's children, that's a whole other rule of engagement. And no, I'm not encouraging you to go out and put your hands on somebody or breathe on them or cough on them or sneeze on them or pull the mask off their face, because that's assault. And even though they're the ones who deserve the direct justice for being absolute imbeciles, pompous, arrogant assholes, you're the one who's going to go to jail for it. So that's the unfortunate world that we live in, is that we have to deal with not only this level of stupidity, but the arrogance that's mixed with it. So yeah, Mehdi Hasan, I'm glad that you feel so sophisticated and intellectual by exposing the myths to those Fox News viewers. But maybe you could pull her in for a little counseling session as well. Maybe you'd pat her on the back because she's doing God's work by telling that man that his kids are going to die and that she wishes it would happen, specifically his kids. Because the manager comes out and says, you can't say that. You know, you're saying kids are going to die. Well, I want theirs to die. See, I don't know what level of stupid you have to achieve to get there. But see, it starts with a certain level of brainwashing. But again, when you already don't value human life, and we know that the left doesn't, because why would you abort 1 million, you know, babies a year and push for the first? Why would you celebrate your abortion? You know, shout it loud, shout it proud. So you already don't value human life. You know, why wouldn't you say things like this? See, these screaming leftists, when they do that, when they start raging like that, you know what that is? That's a totalitarian trying to come out of them. That's the demon. That's the demon of totalitarianism, trying to escape from their body and manifest physically. That's what you're seeing when those people start screaming and re-reing like that. So remember that. Remember that whenever people want to tell you to mask up, mask your children, and to do all of these things that are going to change your life and limit your freedoms and liberties over Mehdi Hasan's so-called myth. Remember, this is what you're dealing with. That's the mentality. Now, sometimes they contain it a little better than that, and they do a better, more humble job of expressing their stupidity. But that right there, that's the manifestation of what's truly going on in the inside of these people, because they've been absolutely brainwashed. All right, guys, you got to clean your guns. It is a necessary hassle, but if you're going to be a gun owner, you got to do that dirty job. You got to do it. Patches are messy. They're inefficient. The rope cleaning elements, like the bore snake, they use a 2-color pattern, which when you pull them through the barrel of your gun, it can hide the dirt, and that's not good enough. Fortunately, I found a better solution, and that's Barrel Buddy. Barrel Buddy compresses to fill the interior of your gun's barrel, and it makes sure to clean the rifling grooves. It comes in 7 different sizes to match any caliber firearm, and Barrel Buddy is composed of polymers that don't leave behind the residual particles, so it's safer as well. Amazing concept. So it cleans by scrubbing and collecting particulates, then absorbs any remaining residue and buffs the interior surface clean. You can even lubricate your firearm while you're cleaning it. So cleaning your guns, it is a really important step in being a responsible gun owner. And Barrel Buddy is a totally new concept, a better way to take care of your firearms. So get some today. I love it. You're going to love it. I love it. You're going to love it like I love it. I guarantee you. So go to barrelbuddy.com today. That is barrelbuddy.com, and we'll be right back. And I know that you guys probably look at me and think, you know, oh, you're being too brazen about this thing. You're being mean about it. Yeah, I actually am. That's how passionately I feel about it. I just, because again, don't let your memory be that short on what literally just happened in our society. It cannot happen again. We can't allow it to happen again. You can't do this again. And you wonder psychologically what it is that motivates people to be this passionate about, you know, masking themselves, about limiting their movement, about wanting to stay at home. And I'm going to tell you in a nutshell what it is, okay? These people are already dealing with such massive fear and insecurity in their life that this came as almost a relief. It gave them something to cling to that gave them a comfort blanket. I mean, it gave them a safety blanket, right? You know, just something to hold on to, whether it was the mask, then it became the vaccine, and it was this safety thing that they could tell the entire world, see, I finally matter. I'm finally doing something that is contributing to the world, to society. I'm wearing my mask, and you should honor me, or at least look at me with respect, because I'm willing to make the sacrifice for humanity. Well, then afterwards, you know, people started taking the masks off, and you were told that the masks didn't work. It's actually you're consuming not only your own human filth, but you're poisoning yourself with the pollutants that are already in the mask, not to mention what you're doing to the planet with the massive amounts of landfill waste from these masks. You know, for the longest time, for 2 years, I'd go around and put it on my Instagram story where I'd see a mask. Somebody just throws it out in the street, and I'd make a post. It's more sheep shit. You know, they're just leaving it behind wherever they go. They're just dropping it on the ground. They don't care. But man, the studies came out and they started realizing, we talked about it on this show, that people who were continuing to wear the mask, they saw themselves quite simply as being less attractive. It gave them something to cover up half their face. They didn't want to smile. Maybe they were introverted. They didn't want to interact with somebody. But the studies came out, and those that were polled, they find themselves less attractive. Listen, here's the thing. I don't give a damn if you wear a full face ski mask everywhere you go. I don't care. I'm not afraid of you. You walk in the bank, we just know you're coming. We don't think you're robbing the place. Do your deal. We're already dealing with, you know, people in masks out there, from Antifa to whoever else, the rioters. Wear your mask if that's what makes you happy. If you feel the need to, you know, to live in obscurity like that, you can have a 365-day-a-year Mardi Gras. Just put your mask on. Have a good time with it. Knock yourself out, head to toe. Cover up. Walk around like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Just cut out some eye holes. I really don't care. But don't you dare come at me and tell me I got to do that crap, because I know your next step. I know your next step, because the mask ain't enough. First of all, no, just no. I'm not putting that on my face again. I didn't do it last time. You know, I did it on occasion to fly on an airplane, because that was the deal. Out of convenience sake, I did it because I don't, you know, not getting on a fight in an, you know, not getting on a fight in an airplane with a flight attendant. So I just did it, but not again. I won't do it. Just won't fly. Period. Just won't fly. I don't have to go anywhere. You know, me and Brandon and Joe, we'll just sit there in Studio 22, there in the mothership, right there, Irving, Texas. We'll never leave. That's where we'll live, boys.
Yeah.
We'll just sit up there.
I felt bad because my mother was in town the other day, and now luckily she hates the masks just as much as I do, but I just told her, I was like, if they bring them back, I don't think I'm going to be able to make myself get on a plane. Like, I cooperated because I was in L.A. when it happened, and I didn't want to be difficult. I didn't really care. But I just can't do it again.
Yeah, not going to do it.
Yeah.
Not going to do it. And I was in California, you know, last week, and so many people just getting on the planes, and they're in the airport in San Diego, still with the masks. And it's like, guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but you made it. You survived. And it wasn't because of the mask. But I know the next steps, Brandon, because they're not going to stop at that. We saw what happened last time. Until they get the results of what they really want, they're not going to stop. So here's what they want. Play clip number 6.
The president said in Tahoe that he had tentatively decided to recommend everyone get the new vaccine. When is he going to decide finally?
So I think you've heard from the FDA and CDC. They've made an announcement on the new vaccine. So certainly they said that there'll be an updated vaccine mid-September, I believe. So we know that, as you all know, vaccinations against COVID-19 remains the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death, which is why we are going to be encouraging Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines.
Okay, so let me unpack what's being said there. A new vaccine. What is this, like a Microsoft Windows update at this point? I mean, is this a iOS update for your Apple? Is this, you plug your phone up and at 2 a.m. it does the new, whatever platform for your iPhone? The new vaccine. What about the old vaccine? Are you telling me the vaccine that we've already had for a couple of years, like that was inefficient? I mean, are you finally admitting that it did not do all the things that Rachel Maddow said it was going to do on MSNBC? If you get the vaccine, remember how that condescending, I won't say what she is, but that condescending person was telling you, if you get the vaccine, you won't give COVID away. You can't get it, and you won't give it. Or Bill de Blasio, you mean if I get a vaccine, I get these yummy fries? I can get these yummy fries? Oh, wait, are you telling me there's a burger element to this as well? Oh, is it too early? Can I eat this early in the morning? Oh, I can have a burger. Oh, I shouldn't have taken such a big bite. So if you get your vaccine, there's these yummy fries and a burger. Don't you want a burger? Don't you want a burger? No, I want to slap the shit out of you so that the burger falls out of your face. That's what I want, because you lying imbeciles treating everybody like they're ignorant little children that are too naive to figure out how to take care of their own lives. You're telling them now KJP is going to say, well, we got this new vaccine that's going to roll out, new and improved vaccine, whatever, 4.0. And it's like, no, because again, it's not common sense to sit there and think that some universal health care procedure is going to take care of everybody in the world. Somebody said the other day, said, oh, these stuff like, that came out that Bronny James, the son of LeBron James, had a birth defect, a congenital birth defect, which caused him to have a heart attack. He's 18 years old. A lot of people immediately speculated, was it the COVID vaccine? And everybody just came out patting themselves, this self-masturbatory congratulations. Everybody saying, see, it was a congenital heart defect, and all of you people on the right are saying it was the vaccine. Well, you still don't know that the vaccine didn't exacerbate part of the problem, so that's kind of a moot point. Your little logical fallacy there kind of fell right apart, didn't it? Because it could have had a problem with that. We don't know. But let's assume that it didn't. Let's just say he had a congenital heart defect, and this rare, wild occurrence happened in a peak, elite alpha athlete, the son of one of the greatest athletes that's ever existed on the planet in all time. Bronny James had this heart attack, and thank God he's okay. And you want to look at that and you want to say, oh, see, it wasn't the vaccine. Well, you still can't say that vaccine injuries don't happen, because they do. And whether Bronny James, it happened to him or not, you can't just say, see, all vaccines are safe because, well, we just proved that one guy had a congenital heart defect and had a heart attack. They do happen. They do happen. So this idea that Karine Jean-Pierre is going to stand up there and look at me and the American public and say, yeah, everybody's got to get this new vaccine. Absolutely not. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. It's just like I'm not going to borrow your blood pressure medicine. And I don't want you borrowing mine, because you have a treatment plan for whatever it is that you have to deal with that works for you. And your stuff might kill me. I don't know. But that's just not good medicine. It's certainly not good science. So the whole trust the science over what? Getting a free hamburger? I'm sorry, that's not the science I want in my life. It's just not. Golly. Wouldn't it have been great, Brandon, if that dude in Burger King had just walked over to that fat lady and just smacked the shit out of her? Wouldn't that be great, dude?
Oh, God. It would have been so satisfying to watch. You know how just off the reservation you are to be in a Burger King and being like, I hope you die and I hope your kids die. Like, that's why, like, these people they're lost. There's nothing you can do to bring that person back.
That's the kind of stuff Alex Stein encounters.
Yeah.
Like when he's at Taco Bell and the lady hits him. Like, you just smack the shit out of this lady, and boom, there it is.
That could be the only good thing that comes out of this, is maybe Alex will get some more good man on the street content with these lunatics.
That would deserve a streamy. Oh. That right there would deserve a streamy, because I'd watch that over and over again. All right, hang tight, everybody. We'll be right back. You know, it's interesting to watch things unfold in certain scenarios, certain circumstances, things that happen where you think you know how something's going to go down. Like you got up this morning, you made a plan to go do something big, you know, and you called your buddies on the phone and said, "Hey, here's what we're going to do today. Get ready. It's going to be wild. It's going to be successful. It's going to be cool." And then it doesn't go the way you planned it to go. How you deal with that curveball, all right? Suddenly your circumstances change, or, you know, life just throws you a variant and you're like, oh, we weren't expecting that to happen and to be thrown in the middle of our plans. I want to give you a great exhibit of that happening. And I've watched this video over and over again. And so, Brandon, I want us to watch it, and then I want to go back and I want to unpack it a little bit, okay?
Okay.
So I want you to bear with me. Keep it pulled up after we play it, because I want to give you guys some of my Chad interpretation of what happens when a wrench gets tossed into the motor, okay? Play clip number 7.
Get out now! Get out! On the ground! All of you on the ground now! Get on the ground! We're not violent! Get on the ground! No, we're not Don't move! We have no weapons at all! We're environmental protesters! Please!
All right, got it right there. All right. Is there a way, let me just ask you before you try it, is there a way to play that clip with the volume down on it so I can talk over it?
Yeah.
Can we do that? All right. So let's just roll into that for a minute, and let's pause it here and there. Okay, so this, first of all, before you play it, this is the Indian reservation. This is the Native American reservation in Nevada. You get on the reservation, on the res, you throw the rules out, all right? They pretty much do what they want to do. So this is one of the rangers there on the reservation. Start playing the clip. Now, these are climate protesters, all right? And they just assume he's going to do like all of them do, and that's just they're going to stop. Now, stop the clip right about, keep going, roll into it, right about there, okay? Okay, so he just drives into the flatbed trailer. There's the chick sitting on the end of it. She's just la-di-da. This is the way, you know, we're just supposed to come out and have a little protest. Me and the buddies, you know. We called each other. We made a plan. Nothing's going to go wrong. Boom. Now her butt's getting thrown to the asphalt because he just decided to keep driving right on through their protest and spin the trailer. Now, I want you to pay specific attention to the lady right there in the foreground with the white backpack on, all right? Because she sees her buddy who's now getting tossed off the flatbed trailer as this officer drives through their little protest. You know, now watch her. Watch this reaction. She runs out there. Now, I want to remind you, this is Nevada. This is the desert, which means, pause it right here, because he turns around, he's coming back. That asphalt is hot. It's black. It's black asphalt. It's drawing the sun. It's a couple hundred degrees. All right, so he's going to come back. Now, you still got your eye to the right of the screen. White backpack. She walks out there. She's going to be mishelpful until the officer gets out there and says, pulls out his taser, pulls out his gun, I don't know, but says, get on the ground. Well, then the one starts screaming. Now, watch right here. They get on the ground. Stop it right there. Suddenly, they realize the asphalt's real freaking hot. Now, you see the girl who's sitting right there in the middle in the front of the truck. Now, the one in the white with the Gilligan's Island hat on, he put his poster board down and got on top of the poster board because it's hot. Now, the girl, you'll see the girl sitting in front She sits her ass with her short shorts down. She sits her little ass on the asphalt. She's immediately adjusting herself because suddenly she's discovered that it ain't a happy little protest anymore, and now her ass is baking at 300 degrees. Now, you notice, stop it right there. Now, roll it back a little bit because I want us to go back to the lady in the white backpack. All right, so keep rolling back. She's sitting on the ground there. Now, remember, she was out on the asphalt until a guy came out and pulled his gun. She walks off the asphalt. She comes and she goes over. When he starts screaming, get out on the ground, she at least had the smarts to get off the black asphalt and go sit her butt in the gravel. So play it. She sits down. She's watching what's going on. She realizes, oh shit, this is getting serious. And she's like, nope, never mind. I'm out. Suddenly, I'm no longer part of the protest. And she keeps walking. Play it. She walks right in front of the camera, whoever's shooting it here. And she's like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back over here with the bystanders. I think I'm just observing. Now, back at the beginning of that, you see the girl in the hat who, by the way, the lady with the longer brown hair, she's the one. She kind of reminds me of, you remember the clip of Martha's Vineyard where they're hugging the illegals and sending them away with the cookies and the milk? And she's like, oh, you know, she's got her little hand over her heart. And she's like, oh, our little illegals are all grown up and now they're on the bus and they're leaving. Bye, illegals. Bye. We love you. We miss you so much, Miguel. She kind of reminds me of that person. And so she turns around with a smile on her face when he drives through the protest block, through the flatbed truck, and she's smiling. Like, she goes, did you get that? Did you get that on film? Did you get that? Yes, we did get your crimes. We did get your crimes on film. So we're happy to have you blocking, Reservation Highway and law enforcement. We actually did get that on camera. So here she is. You see her. She's filming. She looks back with her smile, and she's like, did you get that? But, oh, my gosh, in your free time, watch this a few thousand times. The humanity and the reaction of people when suddenly your day and your plans go to crap is hilarious to watch. Now, they're now bringing up this officer. Of course, they're going to investigate his actions or whatever. But let me just say that, my friends, in my worldview, is how you handle this level of stupidity. Just deal with it. Drive right through it and bust the party up. I didn't mean to mess up your Black Panther party. I mean, just Forrest Gump the hell out of it, all right? It's a beautiful clip. It's a beautiful day. I love y'all. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Yeah, don't you love to see it? Actually, I don't. There was a teacher in New York City who posted on social media about teaching children consent. I don't know if you guys remember that story or not. Well, now has been accused of raping her 14-year-old student for many months. We'll see how that story comes out. But something weird about people that want to keep on... what happened to us? Something weird happens whenever... people want to keep talking to kids about stuff like this. And, yeah, things tend to kind of pop out. So she was charged with rape, criminal sexual act, and acting in a manner injurious to a child less than 17 years old. Faces up to 17 years in prison if she's convicted. Or a wood chipper. I don't know. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Head over to ChadOnBlaze.com. Get your, I visited the White House. I went to the White House and all I got was this crummy t-shirt and a bag of Coke. It's a fantastic t-shirt. It really is. And, but come see me in Kansas City. Make your plans now. Look at my schedule there at WatchChad.com. See what's up. If you guys haven't subscribed to Blaze TV yet, blazetv.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad and save on your annual subscription. But let me just go ahead and say once again, thanks to Brandon, thanks to Joe, thanks to the crew here in Nashville for helping accommodate us on the road. We love you. God bless you. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then, but we'll find out. See you then. Bye.